Your attitude is literally the only thing you have control over in life. In any situation, be it college, your home life, or your career, when you are confronted with a challenge, you get to decide how to react. Are you going to react in a way that is negative and brings discord and angst into your life? Or are you going to react in a positive way that brings harmony and peace to you? Your attitude about how to deal with the many challenges you face as a student, a working parent, or as a business leader is the difference between a stressful, chaotic, and negative experience versus one that is calm, focused, and positive. This training will delve into how to approach challenges with fortitude and discipline so that you do not become consumed by inaction and despair. It takes just as much effort to be happy as to be miserable.
Topic this week, as you should be able to see on your screen there, is the altitude of your attitude. We're going to talk about some very specific things here, what we can do to really make sure that we have our heads in the right place as we go about our day and our businesses and our lives to ensure that, we maximize what it is that we do. We maximize our profits, we maximize our relationships, etc. So this is something that applies not just to us on a professional level, but also on a personal level. And so that's what we're going to be doing here. So we're going to talk about the 4 attitudes that you need to adopt, as well as the 2 different types of attitudes that there are. Why attitude really is everything. We're also going to talk about why we really need to act now as if it is impossible to fail, and why that's so important. Because if we kind of have any doubt that creeps in about, I don't know if this is going to work or not work, that kind of really throws a monkey wrench into the whole works, and that screws everything up. So you've got to act as if it's impossible to fail. And if you've got any doubt, you've got to learn to get rid of it. So we'll go into that a little bit more detail in a bit. I'm going to talk about, too, about having an attitude of gratitude and why it's so important that we're thankful for the things that we have already and not dwell on the things that we don't have. Because many of us are blessed in many, many different ways, whether it's with our families, our children, our parents, our homes, or whatever. And we're much better off than the vast majority of the world. The people in the United States and Canada and this part of the world are really very, very blessed at this point in time compared to other populations in other areas of the world that they struggle to get food, just even one meal a day. And it's sad, but sometimes we lose sight of the big picture, and so that's why it's important to have that attitude of gratitude and really start your day, being thankful for what you have, that you've got a roof over your head, that you're able to, pay your mortgage or your rent. Then we're going to wrap it all up and talk about the bottom line and how we really can develop the proper attitude. And finally, I'll go over a few exercises that can be done in order to improve that. So jump right in here with the 4 attitudes. Now, so you see this. Now we're broken into 2 different areas here. We have the 4 attitudes to adopt. And the first one is ambition. Okay, we have to be ambitious and have to have lofty goals if we're going to want to succeed. We need to be in action. We need to create a sense of urgency for ourselves. And we have to be determined. We have to have determination. Okay, and that's a very, very key factor here. In order, we have to be very determined that we're going to succeed. So those are the 4 attitudes we need to adopt. And then there's 2 different types. There's a value-driven attitude. Someone who is of the mindset of providing value to people, and that's definitely the mindset you want to make sure, and the attitude you want to make sure that you have. And an expectation-driven mindset. And this is really not the right attitude to have at all. You can't expect things. Okay, so you have to operate from a service attitude as opposed to an expectation attitude. And so I'm going to get into more detail now. First off, ambition. Okay, well, really the main reason why so many people are not successful is because they don't know what they want. And really only the top 5% of the population knows exactly what they want. And they are absolutely single-minded about success. They know what they want and they are determined to get it. And we'll talk about determination in a minute. But it's only the top 5%. So that really means that 95% of people are out there really are not clear on what it is that they want. And so how can you ever expect to get what you want or to get where you want to go or have a relationship of a certain type with a certain person, etc., or to be in a certain state of health unless you know exactly what you want, and even using, like, say, weight loss as an example, how can you possibly, expect to lose some weight if you don't know how much? You need to have a number. Say, okay, I need to lose, 12 pounds, or I need to be at this weight. And once you make something concrete and you have a very specific and exact number, it becomes much easier for us to focus on where it is that we need to go. And it also helps you get these little steps along the way. So that's extremely important. Failure, of course, is not an option. Okay? Not an option. It should not even be in your vocabulary. Well, what happens if I fail? No, it's not going to happen. You will not fail. You are going to just succeed, and because failure is not an option. And if you do something and it doesn't work out, that's okay. It's one more way you learn of not doing it, and you try something different. You try something different. You keep trying different things until you eventually discover what it is that works. And when you discover what works in your business, in your life, in your health, in your relationships, whatever, you do more of it. Okay, and the things that don't work, you don't do anymore. Okay, and we have to have an open mind, and we have to know that we are in this for the long haul, and we're not just going to give up someday because it got a little tough, or we did something that didn't quite work. Do you do that with a diet? You do something and you try a diet for 2 weeks and you didn't lose 20 pounds. You say it didn't work? Of course not. First of all, you didn't give enough time, but maybe it wasn't the right type of diet or something like that, right? And our financial situation's the same way. Relationships are the same way. If we act a certain way towards somebody and they don't respond the way that we would like them to, well, we better change our approach, right? These are all things that really can transcend to just about any area of our lives. Persistence is my favorite. Persistence really is the key, I believe. And the reason is there are so many people out there that are talented. There are so many people out there that are smart, and they are not successful. And why is that? Well, maybe it's because they just didn't try hard enough or long enough or give it a fair enough shot at it. And persistence really is a key here, because just like failure is not an option, we have to tell ourselves that, hey, it didn't work. That's okay. I'll keep working at it and working at it and working at it until I do succeed. Persistence is what allows us to continue to do that and keep persisting through the triumphs and tribulations and the challenges that come up every day in our lives, because, hey, it's not going to be easy, but, success rarely is. And so having the quality of persistence is very important, because it allows us to continue when the going gets tough. Okay, and that's all what ambition's all about. You have to be ambitious, and persistence is one of the key ingredients of being ambitious. There's a lot of them, but that's one of them. We, of course, have to have lofty goals. Okay, we can't expect to be successful, or at whatever our endeavors are that we're trying to pursue, if we don't have high expectations of ourselves and of that end result. It's how challenging is it for us to say, well, I'd like to make an extra $20 a month. It's not a real lofty goal, and I think we would all agree that it's probably not that difficult to do. You can figure out a way to make extra $20 a month, right? But that's not the point. The point is you need to set a higher goal, okay, a lofty goal. Shoot for the stars and you'll land on the moon, right? That's how it works. So you need to put that number out there. That's a bigger number if we're talking about finances, right? I want to make an extra $2,000 a month, right? I want to make an extra $12,000 a month, right? Hey, if you set out to make an extra $2,000 a month and you end up after a year making an extra, $1,700, I don't think you're going to be that disappointed. Sure, you didn't get exactly to the goal, but you got pretty close to it, right? So that should be viewed as a success, not a failure, because you're shooting for that goal and you're getting there. And maybe it just takes a little bit more time, maybe another 3, 4, 5 months to get to that goal, right? So that's how we have to look at these things. The second ingredient, if you will, is action. Okay, we must have that carefully thought out plan, and you have to constantly be working on it. Okay, you've got the goals. You've got to have your master plan. I've got a master plan. That's what it's called, my master plan. Everyone should have one, so it should reflect all the different areas of your life. This is what I'm going to do, and this is what I want to achieve in my financial situation. This is what I want to achieve in my relationships. This is what I want to achieve in my health, in this, in that, whatever. It could be hobbies, could be part of that. Your interests could be part of that. There's a lot of different things that make up your your master plan. But this master plan has to be carefully thought out. It's got to be very specific and concrete. You've got to have measurable ways of knowing that we're on the right path, right? Because otherwise we won't know whether we're getting there or not. Now, something that a lot of people don't realize is success likes speed. Okay, everybody thinks, oh man, it's going to take me such a long time to get to my goals. No, it doesn't. Because when you get into action and you begin to move and really be focused in on what it is that you're looking to achieve, success happens quickly. Okay, so get moving and get moving fast, right? Pedal to the metal and just go. And put the blinders on and keep the focus and don't look up until whatever time frame you've set out to yourself, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, then look up and see how you're doing. But you put your nose to the grindstone and you crank on it and see what happens. And I guarantee if you have that plan in place and you follow it, you're going to see things happen. You're going to see a progression of you getting closer to those goals. Okay, and that starts with a plan. But we've got to move. So again, we have to constantly be in action and move towards those goals, just like I said. And it's better to get started and make mistakes than instead of waiting. And unfortunately, sometimes people they think, well, I'm not quite sure how to do this, and I need to learn a little bit more, and I don't know what to do. And no, get started. You're gonna make mistakes no matter what. We all do. Everybody makes mistakes. We never did everything perfectly the first time we tried it. If you did, nobody'd ever learn anything, right? The way we learn is through making mistakes. We learn that this is not a way to do it. So if we wait until we think everything's going to be perfect, we're never going to get started. So just get started, and then you fine-tune as you go. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. Now, this is a key ingredient, and I think this is one that a lot of people lack, and that is a sense of urgency. Okay, it's kind of like, well, I'm going to work at this, and if I get there within the next couple of years, I'll be happy. Well, that's really not creating any sense of urgency for you to get to that goal. And what's going to happen is, you think, all right, I'm going to give myself 2 years to get to a goal, and what happens is a year and 11 months into it, you go, oh my God, I thought I was going to be at such and such a place or such and such a weight or have so much money at 2 years down the road, and I got a month left to do it. It's never going to happen. How could I possibly do it now? Now you've got a sense of urgency, but guess what? It's too late. So don't waste precious time, because time can be your ally and it could also be your enemy. And we know that all too often when we see what happens in our lives, when we look up one day and we go, oh my God, I can't believe, another year's gone by. So we can't waste precious time. And if we just keep working at things slowly and consistently and always being in action and knowing what our plan is, that sense of urgency really gets that fire lit underneath us and keeps us moving forward. So we've got to set deadlines because, life is short. And the older you get, the more you realize how true that is. And, maybe it's because, we start seeing our parents leave us or friends leave us, and and it's something that is kind of sad, but it's also should be a wake-up call for us that what, hey man, if I want this to happen, I'm going to set this deadline out for myself, and I want this to happen on this date, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make that happen. And how am I going to do that? Well, every day I'm going to do this and that. And, that's what you do. You set these things out, you write them down on paper, and, nobody knows your goals and your dreams and your aspirations but yourself. So write them down, look at them often, and set those deadlines. And if a deadline comes and goes and you're only 80% there, well, so what? If you hadn't set the deadline, you might only be 20% there. Right? So it gets you moving. It creates that sense of urgency that something's got to happen. And this is something that I've been really focusing on more, is giving myself tougher deadlines on things and saying, oh, I want it, like I was alluding to in the beginning of the webinar tonight, some certain things that I'm working on that I want to have done within the next 2 to 4 weeks. Is that realistic? I don't know. I'm going to try damn hard to make it happen, though. And if it doesn't, so what if it takes 5 weeks? At least I put that out there. But without a deadline, it's like, well, yeah, I'll just keep working on it and wait to see what happens. So that sense of urgency that a deadline really does for us is a very important thing. We have to confidently expect to reach the ambitions that we're setting out there, right? We set the deadline. We need to feel like it's a realistic one. You don't set a deadline that's completely unrealistic because you're just setting yourself up for failure and disappointment, right? If it's a financial deadline or a financial goal, Don't, on a $30,000 a year salary, don't say, in the next 3 months I'm going to increase my income by a factor of 10 and make $300,000 a year. That's not really that realistic. And if your goal is to win the lottery, well, good luck, but chances are it's not going to happen. So you better have a plan B. So we have to set it realistic, but we got to stretch. Okay, we got to stretch a little bit. We got to set a lofty goal, but not so that it's completely unrealistic, so that when the time comes, if we've done everything we can to do to get there, that it's just so far away that we say to ourselves, hey, you know what? I don't see how I could ever get there or ever achieve whatever it is. Because then that's going to just come back and it's going to depress you, and you're not going to feel good about it because you're going to be like, you know what? I don't see how I could ever make this happen. And that could be because you just set an unrealistic deadline out there or an unrealistic expectation for the goal that we're shooting for. And so that's something that is also a very important factor here. Stretch, but don't make it so that it's impossible, because then that's not good either. But create that sense of urgency, and as I love to say, just do it anyway. Okay, when we say, well, I don't know if I want to do it. Yeah, just do it. Just do it, but just do it anyway, or just do it in spite of, right? I'm sure if you've heard me before, I say this quite a bit. I love taking that slogan and just throwing the anyway on it, because it's easy to just say, we'll go out and just do it. But the power, I think, really comes in us and our ability to just do it anyway, or just do it in spite of, or just do it when we have challenges, or when we don't know how we can possibly make things happen, or if we don't see a way through, we have to just do it anyway. And know that it's going to probably take some modifying as we go along, but you got to get started. Remember, the last thing we just talked about is getting in action. Get in action. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. Just start moving. Now, our goals require not only clarity, as I said, but that sense of urgency. Otherwise, as I just said a minute ago, it's easier just to say we'll get to it, someday. And we all know that someday never comes, right? Oh, I'll do it when I get around to it. Well, you know what? That's no sense of urgency. That's no deadline. That's not a specific date. That's not a concrete goal. It doesn't do any of these things that we're talking about doing. So we have to make sure that we're doing that. Okay? And then determination. Another very important thing here. Persistence and determination, I think, kind of go hand in hand. And, that's why the first thing I write here is, decide you will persist until you succeed no matter what. Okay? So the deciding factor is your determination. Okay? The self-discipline, the self-control, the ability to stay the course. Okay, no matter what gets in your way. Because, hey, life is going to throw us curveballs. There are going to be distractions. There are going to be things that pull us off the path. But when we've got our plan, then it's not that difficult for us to get right back on course when that distraction is dealt with. We all know the distractions that life can throw at us, whether it's a sickness or, we have to move, or, there's a major expense that you have to take care of at the house, or, well, who knows what. I mean, there's a million different things that can throw us off course. But having the plan that we can follow and always being in action and moving towards that goal is going to allow us to move forward, and determination is what also makes that happen. Having that laser-guided focus on our goals is absolutely key as well. We have to be focused in on what we want. And if you're not focused in, nothing else will work. Nothing. You have to do this before you do anything else. Know what you want. And only then can you start to figure out what it is you got to do in order to go get it. Now, I like to say, if 3 is too low for you, or if 3 is too high, adjust this number any way you want, but determine what 3 things you're going to do every single day in order to reach a particular goal. So if there's several goals, maybe you just want to work on 2 things a day towards each one of, say, 2 or 3 different goals, okay? But figure out what those goals are, figure out what needs to be done, and then pick a couple of things to do every day that will help you get a little bit closer to achieving that goal. And it has to be a daily action. Okay, daily actions are the thing that lets you chip away at the stone day after day and keep moving forward. Okay, don't try and crank out a ton of stuff all at once 1 day a week. It doesn't work, or if it does work, it's not going to work that effectively because you're trying to cram too much in at once. So it's much better to take smaller pieces and just work on it consistently. Maybe not every day. If you don't have every day because you got other things going on, fine. It doesn't have to be every day, but my point is you have to do it consistently. Maybe it's every other day. Maybe it's 3 days a week. But it shouldn't just be once a week. You try a shotgun approach to do a ton of stuff, and that's it. Okay? So determine what they are. Write them down and start doing them. If it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and do it all the time. Do what you've determined to do. Again, determination. You have to be determined. You have to know this is what I'm going to do, and now you've got to go do it, right? And of course, we don't stop until we've achieved that outcome. Okay, so all of this really helps to boost our attitude, because when we are in control, boy, is that a good feeling. But when we're out of control, or when we feel like we're getting bounced around, like we don't know what's happening, and we're very scattered and we're not focused, you have a feeling of not being in control. That is not a good feeling. It's definitely not good. So this is so important because it allows us to get that feeling of being in control of our own lives, and we are. Every single one of us is in control of our own lives. Can't rely on other people. You've probably heard in the past, if it's to be, it's up to me. All right? We cannot rely on somebody else to do things for us. We have to do it. We have to be responsible. We have to be in control. And so the only way to do that is knowing what we want, and having the right attitude is a big part of it. So, these 4 attitudes are at the root of all of entrepreneurial success. And as I said before, the 95% of the others, okay, they may also have ambitions and they may want things, but the people in that category, their ambitions are much more like wishful thinking. They don't have specific goals. It may be like, oh, I'd love to lose some weight, or oh, I'd love to make more money, or oh, I'd love to, to meet the girl of my dreams, etc. These are wishful thinking thoughts. They are not specific goals. There's a huge difference there. Unfortunately, the majority of the population, there's just 95% of people, that's where they operate from. And so they wonder why they don't get it. And if they do get it, it's more because of luck than anything else. It's definitely not because they've set a plan in motion and have worked at that plan to make those goals come to fruition. A good analogy is, if you're a sailor out on the ocean, okay, well, if you think of you being out on the sea of life, if you're sitting in a boat, but there's no rudder to steer it, and you've got no compass to help you figure out what direction you're going in, you're not going to have a whole lot of success getting where you want to go, right? If you don't have a plan, don't have a course charted out for you, and you're not lined up on that destination, like I'm going to that island or that shore or this country, etc., you're going to just drift around, right? The tide's going to throw you around, the waves are going to, push you all over the place, and that ship is going to flounder, right? And it's just going to kind of float around with the tide as, so much debris. It's really no different. But if we've got a boat and we've got our map and we've got our compass and we know how to steer it and we know where we're going, that's where we're going to get to where we want to go. So if, we're not as successful as we'd like to be, then now is absolutely the best time to set ourselves for an ambitious but realistic goal, or sometimes what works even better is to set out a series of progressive goals, okay? So you take that one big goal or that one big thing that you want to accomplish and cut it into 2 or 3 or 4, smaller goals, okay? And it makes it much more palatable for us. It's much easier for us to tackle a smaller goal than one big one all at once, because sometimes it can be overwhelming. So again, determine what you're going to do each day, or there's 2 things, 3 things every other day, whatever it is, come up with your schedule. Right? And then do what you have to do and do what you've determined to do. And again, don't stop until the objective has been achieved. Remember, attitude is everything. And our attitudes are critical. Okay? We have to be very careful what thoughts we put in our head. And I've said many times, don't read the newspaper because it's all bad news. Stay in a positive frame of mind. But we can choose how we think. Okay, we can choose to have a positive attitude because that is what's going to be conducive to our success. Whereas a negative attitude, of course, isn't. It's not helping anybody. It's not helping ourselves. It's not helping the people around us. So if we're not as successful as we'd like to be in terms of achieving our goals, it's possible that our own negative thinking or our own bad attitude is to blame for that. But the good news is that we can all change, right? Anybody can change, and we can make our own good luck. okay, if you want to call it that. Successful people don't sit at home and wait for the right opportunity or wait for, the adverse circumstances to change. They take the initiative to figure out, okay, what do I go to do to fix this? Or what do I got to do to make things happen? So they're the ones that go out searching for opportunities, and that's what every single one of us should be doing. We should be looking at opportunities. We should be looking for different areas where we can improve our lives in every different area. And when we encounter something that's not exactly how we like it, well, hey, then we look to figure out what we got to do to change that and to change those circumstances so that we can get to where we want to go and so that we can do what we need to. That's what has to be done. In general, there are two types of attitudes that I briefly mentioned. We've got a value-driven attitude. This is the attitude of someone who people are going to view you in a very positive light because you strive to provide value to them, okay? Why should somebody deal with you? Why should somebody want to be in a relationship with you? Why should somebody buy products from you? Why should somebody join a business you're in, et cetera, et cetera? These, if you can show them how you're providing them with value, you become a more valuable asset. You become somebody that people want to be around because you're providing them with a value, okay? Service is key. The opposite side of that is someone who has an expectation-driven attitude. And this is the attitude, unfortunately, of a lot of people in this country, okay? But it's reflective of the attitudes that people have. It's what's in it for me. Well, you got to do something for me, right? And, of course, that's only going to cause other people to view someone like that as being uncaring, that they don't care. They're looking for handouts. They want to know what's in it for me. I don't care what I can do for you, what's in it for me. And that is the absolutely wrong attitude to have. Once that attitude is flipped around into a value-driven attitude, many more doors will open. People want to associate with you. They want to give you business. They want to buy off you, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a huge distinction, and really the two major types of attitudes. I mean, yes, you can say you have a positive attitude and a negative attitude, but I think this kind of hones in on a little bit more specifically because this is really where we can start to see the real difference here and how this can start to snowball in one direction or the other, whether it's good or bad, and we want to make sure that it's on the good side. Having an attitude of gratitude is a great way to start your day, and it's a great way to end your day. Okay, because when we move in harmony with ourselves and with others because of our thoughts and our feelings and, of course, our attitudes, great things can happen for us all. And this involves us being thankful for the things that we have in our lives. It could be something as simple as being thankful for a good meal that you had for dinner tonight, right? Or being thankful that you've got, smart kids in school that don't really require a lot of help with their homework and stuff like that. These are all simple, small little things that are really important to focus on because it really helps us see what's important in life. And, I've got 3 kids and they're all in school, and thank God they're all smart and they're all doing well in school. And that's something that I'm thankful for every day. Of course, I help them with their homework. I check it. I make sure everything is done correctly. But you know what? They do well. They're creative. They take initiative. They do a lot of work on their own. And it's fantastic to see. I got my 7-year-old now. He's reading so well. I'm so proud of him. That's something that I'm so grateful for when I think about how many people in this world are illiterate. And so we stack these things up against something that, and it really helps us appreciate so much more of what we have. And when we do that, we're really putting ourselves in harmony with nature and with the universe and with an attitude of positiveness. And you want to be in that positive state. That's going to help us live a more harmonious life. It's going to help us remain in balance. And it's also going to help keep the negativity away. And that's what we want to do, is keep the negativity away. Now, I mentioned expectations with our goals. It definitely, can start with having the right expectations for your outcome. All right? If we expect something good to happen, there's nothing wrong with that. Unfortunately, a lot of people expect something bad to happen. That's not good, because guess what happens? Law of attraction kicks in. You start to bring things that are bad to yourself, and we do not want that to happen. The positive attitude, simply having one, will produce more income, approximately 37% more. Don't know how that statistic was come up with, but it is there. Okay? Having a positive attitude puts more money in your pocket, period. Whatever that number is, who knows? But it definitely is true. People want to do business with someone who's positive, not negative. And that's the simplest way you can view that. If you got 2 salesmen and one's, real happy and looking to provide you with value and answering all your questions and spending a lot of time, and you got somebody else who can't be bothered and is real, standoffish and just really just trying to push the sale, well, who are you going to want to do business with? You're obviously going to want to do more business with the first person unless you like abuse, right? So, I mean, that's how human nature. We're attracted to people that are, that are positive, that are helpful. So have that crystal clear picture of what we want from our businesses, from our lives, from our relationships, or our whatever. And that picture is going to pull us in, and it's going to draw us closer to it every single day that we see that. Okay? Have that vision board, have that goal board, have those things in front of you that you see every day that remind you of what it is that you're working towards. Okay, whether it's a new house, a new car, a college education, a new desk, who knows what. It could be anything could be on that board, right? Whatever it is, you focus on it. Okay, have that crystal clear picture. So that goal board is excellent. Goal lists of goals, those daily affirmations are something that is a topic for a whole nother webinar. We've talked about that in the other ones in the past, but having an affirmation or a declaration, and I have an example of one at the end, that can really set you into a good frame of mind whenever you need it, is a perfect example. Okay, and these are things that help us when we have that attitude of gratitude. We know what we want, feel good about getting it, and we approach it in the right way. So how do we develop it? Right, that's the bottom line. How do we develop the right attitude? Well, first of all, we have to act now. Right, act now. Don't put it off. Don't wait till things are perfect. Act now as if it is impossible to fail. Impossible. Just say, I'm not going to fail. It's impossible. I'm going to succeed. That's the way you have to think about it. That's the way you have to view any of the goals that you're setting out there for yourself. Okay? Remember, success is an attitude, and you could immediately acquire that right this second. Right this second, you can think successfully. You can act as if you are successful. It's simply an attitude. Whether or not it is actually there simply exists in our mind, right? You can lie to yourself and you don't know the difference. So if you act successful, you will end up being successful over the course of time. It has to happen. If we expect good things to happen, they're going to happen. Again, we have to be grateful for what we've already got, and that puts us in a much better state because we're already thanking what we have, and we're being very thankful for that and grateful for what we've already got. Okay? Become a possibility thinker. Think that anything is possible, right? Remember, doubt is the enemy. Do not doubt. You find yourself doubting something, and it has anything to do with your goals. I mean, maybe it has something to do with something else and it might be valid, but when it has something to do with your goals and the things that you've set out there for yourself, if you find yourself doubting that it's possible, you must immediately cancel the thought and think of the possibilities, that it is possible. A great way that sums this up is to have a cheerful attitude, okay? Cheerful attitude of positive expectancy, okay? Positively expect good things to happen. And guess what? More and more of them will in every area of our lives. Okay? It's like a magnet. These things are drawn to us. So if we act as if we're impossible to fail, we will succeed. It's how it works. Using that goal board or that vision board allows us to visualize our success. It allows us to visualize the things that we want. It helps us get and stay in that right frame of mind and to stay having that good positive attitude so that we can get the things that we set out there for ourselves, whether, as again, personally, financially, professionally, you want to get that raise at work, whatever. You want a new job, you want a new car, there's all of these things that, have to go on that board if you want them. Copying what successful people do is another great way to get the good attitude, right? We model them. If there's someone that whether it's someone that you work with or someone just maybe it's a neighbor or a friend, and they're successful and they seem to have the things that you want, well, do what they do. If we do what other people do that are successful, well, I think it just stands to reason, and it does, that you're going to end up with the similar results. Okay? Unfortunately, the opposite can also happen. If we're modeling people that are negative, that are bad, that are doing or getting the things that we don't want, and we act that way, well, guess what's going to happen? We're going to get pulled into that negativity and go down that downward spiral too. So you don't want that to happen. Again, don't doubt, because that is going to kill our ability to succeed. Doubt is probably the number one enemy. If you listen or remember nothing else from what I talk about this evening, doubt is the enemy. You find yourself doubting, stop it. You can't doubt that it's going to happen, because that puts up a block. It puts up a wall that prevents you from getting through to the other side. It prevents you from getting through to achieving your goals. Doubt is the enemy. Remember that only by taking some risk are we really and truly free. Okay? If we don't take risks and we're just complacent, we're never going to really able to strive. That's why I said set those lofty goals out for yourself, right? We've got to take some risk. Hey, life should be a risk. It should be about what if. Okay? If we just stay and we're complacent and comfortable and we never take any risks, that's pretty boring, don't you think? You should be taking some risks. I'm not saying go out and jump out of airplanes, but if that's what you feel like doing, go do it, right? But there has to be some risks that we take in order to get us to the next level. Okay? It's not supposed to be easy. If it was, everybody would do it. But it is simple. Okay? And there's a big difference between simple and easy. Something can be very simple, but it can be difficult. Okay? And that's why you don't see a millionaire in every single house in this world, because it is not easy to do. Boost your willpower and your self-confidence and your self-image, as I said, with success affirmations. Here's a great sample affirmation. If you can use this, you can tailor it or tweak it any way you want, but the affirmation is, I can succeed. I will persist until I succeed. I am a success now. Every day, in every way, I get better and better. Okay? Simple few sentences, but powerful, right? You're programming yourself for success. And if you have a mantra or you use this as your affirmation, say it every single day, a couple times a day, in the morning and at night, in the morning and at night, every day. And guess what? You begin to believe it. Your subconscious begins to believe it. It begins to become a part of you. And then what happens is you almost can't control the direction you go, because you're being pulled in that direction every single day. Okay, finally, we're going to wrap up with some exercises. Okay, just a few simple exercises here. And, right in line with the attitude of gratitude, it's essential that we take an inventory of the things that we're thankful for and the things that we are grateful for. Okay, this can be everything and anything. Okay, the people in your lives, the home that you live in, the clothes on your back, the food that you eat, etc. And what you think about will bring more about. And we do this every morning and every night. So when you wake up, start the day by thinking, oh, I'm so happy and grateful that. And you fill in the blank. And at night before you go to bed, oh, so happy and thankful that. And fill in the blank. Okay? And do that every day. And do it for 30 days. And I guarantee you will see things changing. It'll be scary. And you're going to say, Pete, I can't believe that. You were right. Because it works. I've seen it happen. I've experienced it. And I know people that have experienced it. And it works. Okay? Visualization is the other huge thing. If you don't have that goal board, get it and get it done. I've said it in the past. I'll say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it. It's fun. I just updated mine the other day. Took some things off, put some other things on it. It's fun. It allows you to visualize and really see the things that you want. And when you visualize, you materialize. Okay? I'm going to say that again. When you visualize, you materialize, okay? So when you first see them before they actually exist, that's the first step to bringing them into you and into your life, whether it's a person, whether it's a place, whether it's a thing, okay? And you run that over and over in your mind. And when you see the things in our mind, guess what? We're going to begin to do them in the body. As I said, it becomes, the subconscious begins to pick up on all of this stuff after a certain period of time. And it happens within a month. It begins to really start to happen automatically. Okay, so only see the end result. Don't worry about how you're going to get there, because that's going to show up as you go about your day. How can I get that? Well, I could do this. I could do that. Oh, I need to do this, etc., etc. The key is to really use your feelings when you're visualizing, and then and only then can it manifest itself. So you've got to feel the joy and the happiness as if whatever it is that you're looking for has already occurred. And feelings are key. Simply looking at the picture saying, oh, I wish I had that, or I wish I looked like that, or I wish I had, et cetera, or I'd love to go there. Okay, that's only half of it. The other half and the more critical half are the feelings that go along with it, because feelings are powerful, powerful things. And when you couple the feelings with visualization, it's like you're turbocharging your goals and your ability to get them that much faster. Okay? You're turbocharging everything about it when you use feelings, and you really have to get into it. You've really got to feel the feelings as if something's already happened, as if you've already achieved something, as if you've already obtained an item, you've already in a relationship, etc. You feel, what would it feel like if you've already obtained these things? Okay? That's the feeling you have to always be able to tap into when you're focusing on this sort of stuff. Again, every single day, a couple times a day, once in the morning, once at night, is when you should be doing this. You're just doing it right while you're doing, where you're being grateful for things, okay? You visualize, what it is that you want. And this opens up the door. This really does. It opens up the door through which that how is going to come to us and that how it's going to be presented. How am I going to get it? Well, don't worry about it right now. You just figure out what it is that you want, and the how will come to you, okay? Do it daily, but make sure it's not a chore. This has got to be fun, okay? When you're doing this, you should still feel exhilarated. You should feel fantastic. You should feel powerful. You should feel empowered, okay? Because this is something that is really getting you into the right state of vibration and into the right and proper attitude for achieving those things that we want. So the vision board is the best way to do this, and we have to get into a state, as I said, where we've already acquired the things on the board. Okay? My wife kind of gets mad at me. She's like, wow, it's kind of like you're lying to yourself. Well, yeah, but so what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt, right? We can have, it happens every single day where, something can happen where we are misinterpreting something, okay? And something could be completely opposite of what we think. Well, the feelings that we're feeling are no different than if it really was that way, even if you don't find out about it until later that, oops, I was wrong. It really, so you have to understand that that's a very important part of this, okay? Now, I mentioned being around people that also have the same sort of things that we want. Look for those people around you in your lives, those with the winning attitudes, those who have the success mindset. Look for those people with those good positive attitudes, okay? They should have the strong desire. They should be, enthusiastic, and that's what you're looking for, okay? You want to surround yourself with people like that because it helps maintain your positive state, okay? It's just as easy to get sucked into the negative with being around on, people that are negative. So the last thing here is that very important is that when you have inspired thought, okay, you're focusing on things and all of a sudden you think about something and say, wow, you know what, that'd be a great thing for me to do or try. Do it. Act on it, okay? It's this little nudge that's coming your way. Be aware of these things as you go about your day, okay, as you go about your week, as you go about your month, as you go about your year. As I said, this year's wrapping up rapidly, right? Well, it's a good time to start reassessing how the year went. Did it go the way you wanted to or didn't it? Why didn't it? Was something out of your control or was it in your control? If it was, what was it? If it wasn't, what was it? Right? We have to start analyzing things and do this all the time and measure. Well, I only did this and this got me to this point. Well, what would have happened if I did something else? I don't know. Maybe I'll try that, next month, next year. Okay, but never give up and always focus on the end result and make sure that the attitude matches what you're trying to do. All right? So, really appreciate you taking some time. Hopefully it's some information there that you can take with you and kind of some food for thought. So I do appreciate that, and that's my webinar on the altitude of your attitude.